Me and my partner stayed in an old hotel that had some connections to the English Civil War. I remember while she was getting ready for us going somewhere, I was laying on the bed watching Brazil v. Belgium from the 2018 World Cup. All of a sudden, the fan on the bedside table was on the floor. It fell off the nightstand, but it fell far from there into the middle of the room. It was an old-fashioned metal one, so really heavy. It wasn't on. No windows were open. No one was near it. I wish I had looked over and saw it happening. I told the guy at reception the next morning, and he said that a few people had upped and left that room in the middle of the night over the years. I'm not sure I believe it was a ghost, but I just can't logically explain it.
I've actually seen ghosts in my periphery for the first time when I was 11 or 12. But when I'd turn to see what was up, it would disappear. I didn't see spirits for years after that. But the last few years, I started meditating to calm my nerves because of anxiety. I got to know that practicing a degree of celibacy, along with meditation, could relax and heal my nervous system after years of abuse. I was almost celibate for 6 months and was practicing pranayama and meditation alongside, which definitely healed my nerves. My anxiety went permanently, but I started seeing these spirits again. I was seeing them more often. I even ended up being so quick to look at them that I saw its face, and it looked shocked that I could see it before disappearing. I eventually ended up being inconsistent with meditation and breached celibacy. Haven't seen them since. I think I'll experiment with meditation again. BTW, they don't look like they are portrayed in the horror movies. They look like black stick figures. Some even look like people with some black haze around them. Looks like some rendering issue in graphics card. I never got scared of them because they would always disappear.
A couple of months ago, I was sitting on the couch reading a book, waiting to go to the library. I heard the door open but called out to my mum and sister because I thought it was them. No answer. I try a go. Nothing. I looked up and saw a woman staring through our kitchen window. She was in our mud, and the door and mudroom doors were open. Couldn't see her well, only the side of her face, but when I blinked, she vanished. I went over and closed the doors and my mom came out. She checked around and said she didn't see anyone. Ever since then, I've had strange things happen, always feeling eyes on me, hearing whispers in my ears, doors opening and many other things happening. She used to be harmless, but the other night I heard whimpering under my bed. Thought it was just my cat snoring, but she walked into my room a bit afterwards. I called her over and she jumped on my bed and went to the edge, meowing like she wanted me to follow. I reached out for her and she freaked out and bit and scratched me hard enough to draw blood. After I pulled away, it felt like something had been gripping my bone. My cat isn't big enough or strong enough to this, and I believe the ghost had me, and she attacked. Oh, and some years back I'd walked outside. I was at the end of the porch when I heard my sister calling me repeatedly. I sat there for I don't know how long until my sister walked out and asked me what I was doing, and the voice abruptly stopped.
On my 21st birthday, my family decided we were having a party in this abandoned, small-town church that my aunt had acquired from said town for $1. Because reasons. It used to be storage for Habitat for Humanity, but because of flooding, they couldn't use it anymore. Anyway, we get there and start drinking and lauded a birthday. Pics and a cigarette later. And we're all going in because it's fall and chilly. My mom and aunt had dogs, while my aunt had a house across the street so her dogs stayed in the neighborhood. But my mom's lil chihuahua could not be off the leash, so it had to come inside. And let me tell you, this place had bad energy from the get-go. But I'm kind of the Chucky Rugrats of the group, so stop being a pansy, was the most common answer to my testifications, but Lil Dog wasn't having it. Watched this dog feverishly attack any and everything in an attempt to avoid going through that church door, and eventually we just put her in the car with a blanket because birthday party, well, a couple hours later, and my mom fell ill, which wasn't a surprise to me. She was sick from abuse and having diabetes anyway, but sober at this point, still too far. Gone to be medically saved on our budget, though. So ill we had to load up in the car and call the cops to tell them we weren't. Waiting for the ambulance and drove the 15 miles, back to civilization in a hospital. But it was cool cause I had just got my official license and got to speed through town like a cop, lol. But that church still stands and I still feel it anytime I drive near it, that evil energy. I have more as well, but I don't feel like letting Reddit analyze my insanity.
I am a huge skeptic, but I am pretty certain I saw what we would call ghosts at one point. For me, it felt like maybe that was an image of something that had happened there way earlier, more than something sentient now. It was at a cemetery in Stockholm. I used to walk through there sometimes to kill time while waiting for friends. It is a little green area, in the middle of a bunch of a city landscape, so it is a good place to hang out. Basically, I was walking out and this older couple was walking towards me on the same path I was on. It got really chilly to the point where I was buttoning my coat on an otherwise mild day, but they seemed unaffected. She was in a long-sleeved cotton blouse, a long, heavy-looking skirt, a hat, and her hair in a long braid. He was wearing a cotton shirt, brown pants, and leather boots. They looked as if they were wearing period clothing, and this was in the hipster neighborhood, so I just figured they were normal people. There was no haze to them. They were just clear as day, ordinary people. They weren't talking to one another, which I remember reacting to, and they didn't seem to acknowledge me in any way. As they passed, I had a really strange feeling in my stomach, similar to when there is turbulence on an airplane. This rocked me a little bit, so I turned around and I couldn't see or hear them. There was nowhere to disappear off to. We were still a fair ways away from the church, and we were on a gravel path, so I should have heard their footsteps, but I didn't. It didn't feel bad or nefarious, but it was so out of the ordinary that I still often think about this and feel drawn to go to the same place whenever I go back home. Very, very weird experience, but somehow strangely comforting.
I was looking at a house with a realtor. Felt sick the moment I pulled onto the property, but figured I must be coming down with something. I started feeling sicker the longer the tour went on. We finally got to the basement, and the air felt really heavy. It was hard to breathe. My chest hurt and I was nauseous. I was absolutely sure I was about to pass out. I told the realtor I wasn't feeling well and needed to head home. As soon as I left the house, I was fine. I found out later from a friend who knew the previous owner that he had passed away from a heart attack and complained of similar symptoms. The day he died freaked me out.